Howdy folks, Little John, and going to do a tasting on the Cooper's Cerveza we did back towards the end of last year. I hadn't actually done this on it. It snuck by and I've missed doing a tasting. There was a question, a comment on the original video yesterday or the day before, and someone had asked whether I'd done a tasting, and I thought I had, but I've gone back through the videos and there's not one there. So I actually think I've tasted the video. I think I've commented that I've tasted it, but I think I was planning on leaving it a little while to let it develop before doing the tasting video. Now, this goes along with that. I've always said that the Cerveza tin needs about 9 weeks of aging to sort of come good, to really get to the point where it's drinking all right. So I think that was the plan, that I was just going to let it go for a while before I actually did do a tasting on it. Now I have drunk a few of these. They've been floating around in the fridge. Other people have drunk them. And it hasn't been too bad. So yeah, time to do a tasting. So just to recap, I will put a link up to the original video. Cooper's Mexican Cerveza, just straight from the tin. Now it was a fairly basic brew, this one. I didn't do anything too elaborate. 500 grams of Dex, 500 grams of light dry malt, 460 grams of Dex. I was going to do just 5 and 5, but I think by memory I didn't have quite enough Dex on hand at the time. So fairly straightforward sugar base, and I did a basic hop tea, which was just 8 grams of Lemondrop and 8 grams of CItra, just in a mug of boiled water. Which again, it'll be on the video how long it actually sat. I haven't got it written here, but it probably only sat for like 10 minutes or something. And that was just added directly to the fermenter. 2 packs of US 05 rehydrated. Original gravity 1040 for 23 litres. I said, yeah, fairly straightforward. Fermented at 15 degrees with top cropped. No, hang on, sorry, no, that's not, getting off track there. I top cropped the yeast off this one to do the fat yak clone. So this fella took, went in the fridge on the 12th of the 10th, was bottled on the 2nd of the 11th, so it took 18, 19 days, so not quite 3 weeks. Final gravity 1010, so 4.4% alcohol in the glass, bulk primed with 122 grams of Dex in 18 litres. So just do a quick calculation on grams per litre, just for those who want to know. 122 by 18 litres, 6.7 grams per litre of Dex. And that's her there. It's nice and clear. It's got just a light note of the citrus and the Lemondrop and the CItra. A little bit of malt sweetness there, but it's nice and clear. It's got a fairly solid carbonation. Head's holding really well. So, as I said, 2nd 11th she was bottled. So we got December, January, so 8, 9, 10, 11. So it's about 11, coming up on maybe 12 weeks since it's been bottled. So I normally say that 9 weeks, and that's generally 9 weeks from the time it's calved. So this is pretty much bang around that mark where I sort of say that I like to see that these Cooper Cervezas aged. And to some degree, most kit beers, I think, benefit from having this amount of age on them. Now, this has been kept, would have been mostly in the conditioning fridge once it was carbonated, and it's probably been in the fridge for a good couple of weeks. Could have even been up to 6 weeks in the actual beer fridge. So it's been kept coolish to cool. Hasn't been subjected to any hot temperatures. That smells quite, yeah, it's got a nice nose considering it's only got, 16 grams of hops done in a hop tea, very minimal. There's a little bit of that fruity note there. It's a very gentle malt presence. There's not much there at all. A little hint, just a little hint of that malt sweetness. The body's lightish. It's not real light. It's got a little bit there. So it's not coming across as super thin, and that real crisp lager finish. Yeah, it's on that side. It is pushing more on the light, thin, crispy side than it is pushing towards that mid range with the body and the mouthfeel. But even with the thin, it's not hollow. It's bordering on getting into that hollow side. I think that the Dex is really pushing its limit. I think if it was to go any further, it's going to start pushing into that hollow mouthfeel. I think it's just holding there. There's that sort of 50-50 malt and Dex mix. It's just holding nicely. The hops are they're just plain. Especially now, and knowing the lightness of the actual basic Cerveza, you can pick up. There's a little bit of lemon, just this light zesty notes there. Sort of more pushing that sort of tangerine, mandarin sort of flavour. It's not it's citrusy but not orange. It's got that little bit more sour citrus without being lemony. Yeah, and that's aside from that the little edge of lemon from the Citra. It's funny that the Lemondrop, I've never really gotten lemon itself from Lemondrop. I do get it from Citra. So it's probably a little bit hard to tell this exactly. But like I said, I do find that Lemondrop pushes more into the edgier, sour citrus notes that aren't necessarily lemon. Now, there is a noticeable kit finish. It's not necessarily twang. There is a hint there, and again, that's coming from the 500, from the big dose of Dex. It's starting to push into that range. I think if that malt Dex ratio was a little bit more on the malt side, then that would become less. But it's not a big noticeable whack when you're drinking it. It's not bad. I mean, you're not gonna convince anyone that it's not a kit beer. It's not a sensational beer by any stretch. It doesn't have the oomph and the flavour of an all grain. But it's a decent beer. It's not full of kit twang. It's not got that nasty kit bite to it. As a beer on its own, it's quite fresh. Would be really nice on a hot summer's day. There's enough body and mouthfeel that it's not just losing itself in the mouth. There's enough hop just from that little bit with the hop tea that there's some interest adding to the beer. There's a little bit of extra taste and edge on your mouth. As you can see, it's holding quite a nice head. There's not really a lot of lacing. There's a little bit, but nothing major. And again, with the high proportion of Dex, that's going to be hard to really get too much more than that. No yeast character playing there at all. That A5 is just sitting there, just letting everything else do its thing. There's no yeast character there that I can tell. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. Like, if you are brewing kit beer, that's your level. This is not a bad brew. That's really, and as I said, it's simple, really easy. Knock it out in 20-25 minutes, and away you go. Would I be brewing it again? Well, not in a hurry, no. But only simply because if I was going to brew this style of beer, I'm going to brew it all grain, or I'm going to brew it at the very least extract, and give it a little bit more of the character that goes along with that. The person who asked about the tasting, and I should have grabbed their name, so I'm sorry, they're in the comments on the original video now. Also asked about comparing this brew, just the straight sort of Cooper Cerveza, with Kingsley's Passion Fruit Cerveza. How they compare, and whether I'd consider comparing them. Now, I did go looking just in case there was a bottle sitting around. I really didn't think I'd had any of it left. And when I actually went back and looked at it, I actually haven't brewed. The last batch of Kingsley's that I brewed was back in, I think it was November 2018. So it's 13, 14, 15 months ago. So yeah, there's no bottle of it floating around. And even if there was, it's just too old. It wouldn't even be worthwhile to do a comparison, because it just wouldn't work. But I can say this: Kingsley's Passion Fruit Cerveza is a bloody good kit beer. But at the same time, it is still substantially different to this. It's much heavier on the malt. It's got a much bigger hop presence. It's pushing a totally different fruit direction. So you can't really compare the two. Quality-wise, the passion for Kingsley's, that style does stand up above this. But again, you take any combination, you add some grain, a good malt presence, a good whack of hops. You're stepping into a whole different realm anyway. So you can't really compare it. This is a different beer than what Kingsley's is, despite the fact that it's a similar base and going the same direction. Really, the passion fruit Cerveza is a couple of notches in a different way than this. It's a bigger body beer. It's maltier. So the comparison doesn't really work. So if you are into doing the simple kit beers without doing too much mucking around, want to get something that's reasonable and drinkable, that process works. And it can probably be transcribed into lots of different styles. That probably doesn't really matter what you're doing. You can throw that general mix of malt and Dex into your brew and do a small hop steep. Do that small hop tea with 15 to 25, 30 grams of hops, depending on your variety. Like if you pick a variety that matches in the style you're using, and you're getting a brew with some more character. But it does really really stands out here the importance of using a good amount of yeast and good fermentation temperatures. I think this beer done with one packet of US-05 at say 20 degrees, and I think you'd be banging, you'd be all over kit twang territory. It'd be hollow. It would not be, you'd be pushing to drink it. It would be starting to get into that area of, with that, it's keeping itself in the zone of being a drinkable beer. Kit-based brewers are going to be happy to give that to the friends and family and say they made it. We're not worried about someone tearing them apart too much and going and telling their beer's bloody shit or something, because that's reasonable. And to some degree holds up fairly well against most commercial bloody beers you buy at the pub anyway. For me, certainly no worse than going to the pub and drinking bloody Great Northern or something like that. So anyway, done. It's decent, good job. You can continue with those methods if you want, play around with a little bit. Simple kit beer, get you a simple result, cheap, easy, works well. Okay, so if you've got any questions or comments about this beer, about the process, anything like that, stick them down the bottom, ask away, happy to answer them. If you haven't subscribed to Little John's, hit the subscribe button down there in the corner, come along, see all the stuff we do, everything that's going on. If you're interested in a little bit extra from the channel, jump on Patreon, hit the Patreon link down the bottom, see what it's all about. Cheers to all the Patreons. There's extras on there, recipes, giveaways, extra videos and information. So have a look if you're interested. But if not, jump on, keep watching the vids. So, Little John for the day, done. Cooper's Cerveza, Simple Lemondrop and CItra Hop tea. It's a winner. So, till I see you again, we're brewing beer, talking beer or drinking beer, good brewing.